Do you ever feel like you're running and running and running, doing, and yet you don't feel like you're getting much further than where you were a year from today? Maybe you're feeling much like a hamster on a hamster wheel, giving all your effort, energy, and time towards things that just keep you feeling like you're going in circles. Well, if that's you, I'd like to invite you to stay with me while I share with you some amazing things you can take and implement today about progress. I'm Dollie Freeman. I'm the host of the Charlotte Mason Mastery Show. And today I'm going to be sharing with you a key thing that no matter if you homeschool, if you work from home, if you are in this place of feeling like you're going nonstop, how to actually uh, be more equipped for progress. So, today I'm going to be talking about the 3 secrets to showing progress. And with these secrets, I want you to understand that, first of all, there's a mindset with progress. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what progress is and what it isn't to help you in the mindset for progress. Number one, progress is not getting things done. It's not a checklist of we got this done, we accomplished this, we finished this is what's next. Those help. That's a system for an SOP, so to speak, a standardized operating procedure to the purpose of what you're working on. But if we are only focused on these checklists of quantity things, we're going to really miss the key essential to what progress is. Okay, so I don't want you to misunderstand productivity, which I spoke about last time. Productivity and how it relates to progress. So, most of the time, when any person comes in to a task of some sense, with the mindset that productivity is progress, you are then stuck in this checklist system of checking things off and getting things done so that you can have that sense of accomplishment. Well, long-term sense of accomplishment only comes when there is true progress. So progress isn't simply getting things done, it's moving toward a purpose or an end goal. Okay. So when you think about that with the retrospect of what I'm about to share with you, it'll help you to understand what you should be thinking about when you're thinking about progress and why, when we have a productivity, that checklist mentality as our guide and as our focus, we stay on this hamster wheel of running with all our time, energy, effort without really making much progress. Okay. So today we're going to talk really about those secrets to knowing how to move forward and what that looks like. So if you have a paper and pen, this is the place where you're going to want to take some notes. So number one, the first secret to showing progress is identifying your child's confidence baseline. Oftentimes, when homeschooling parents come into planning the new school year, we're planning it based on the grade level and what should be based on the guidelines for grade systems and thinking about, well, my child should be here. And a lot of times we make plans based on that very assumption of where our children should be. What I want you to do is, in order to show progress, that number one secret is not to look about the grade of the child, not looking about the age of the child, but looking at where the child is confident. Now, to ensure you understand what I mean when I say confident, confidence is only evident when a person, regardless of their age, is able to do something independently. Okay. So when you look at something of what your child is doing, if you are still having to sit there with your child, walking them through something, that means they're not confident in it. Confidence comes by ownership. When a person owns something, they are now confident in it, meaning that they take the responsibility of it, they're motivated by it, and they own an element of knowledge that makes them feel confident. Okay. So when you're thinking about identifying your child's confidence baseline, I want you to be thinking about number one, where do your children automatically do things independently? So when you're identifying that child's confidence baseline versus coming to planning on the element of that grade level, you're going to easily get to this place of understanding. We're not looking at this checklist of productivity, right? We're now looking at the quality of progress. So it's not that in the moment sense of accomplishment, but the long term accomplishment, right? That is such a difference between the checklist mentality and quality mentality. So start with identifying those things where your child is showing confidence on a regular basis, things they can do independently of each other. And when you plan based on that, you're going to naturally see and show progress from the child because we're not wanting them to look at their assignments with a sense of, I can't do this, but a sense of, oh, I can do that. And then by broadening their expectations of what they're able to do will help them. Now, secret number two, this is where a lot of homeschooling moms struggle because a mom doesn't know what a mom doesn't know. And I say this time and time again, a child doesn't know what a child doesn't know. And when we have those two elements working together within a homeschool where a child doesn't know what they don't know, a mom doesn't know what they don't know, but they're not showing progress, this is where moms lose sleep, especially at the end of the year when they have to show progress when they're having to test their children and they have that raw reality that, oh no, my child didn't show progress this year. Then we come into planning the next year with a grade mentality, okay, and not looking at our child's confidence baseline. We're going to keep this scenario going and you're going to stay on that treadmill like that hamster wheel of giving your time, energy, and effort without making progress. So, what I want you to do, this is secret number two, is recognize the stages of transition for the mechanics of learning. Now, let me explain this a little bit more. Let me just unfold it so you can completely understand it. Number one, there are four mechanics of learning that you, as a homeschooling mama, must ensure your child knows. That is reading, writing, arithmetic, and thinking. Thinking is a mechanics of learning. If we cannot teach our children to think, they will go through the mechanics of education without retaining valuable knowledge that they can carry into adulthood. So it's the thinking mechanics, how to learn, not just I'm learning for a test, but what that looks like in retaining information, turning the information into knowledge. Okay. So when you recognize that these are the four mechanics and recognize that each of these mechanics have stages, we start with recognizing the alphabet, right? Whether it's by sound or by name, recognizing it, and we end up being able to read any book we open up. There's a lot of stages in between those. And we, as homeschooling moms, usually are not taught those stages of transitions, right? So, what I want you to recognize is each of these four mechanics of learning has those stages. And you're struggling as a homeschooling parent because you don't know what those stages of learnings are. And the same thing being true, your child can't tell you, Mom, I don't understand this, because we are not capable of examining what we do not know. And when there's critical attitudes involved where a child doesn't feel they're capable, a mom doesn't feel they're capable, or there's criticizing, you ought to know this by now. I've taught you this 20 times. How do you not know this? That's a critical attitude. And learning is not capable in that environment of a critical attitude. So when we take a step back and we're like, okay, we must show progress this school year. We must do things differently to get a different result. So it's coming into this place of recognizing your child's confidence baseline, that's secret number one. And number two is recognizing the stages of transitions for those four mechanics of learning. And when you become equipped to know what they are, you can easily see, okay, this is what my child doesn't know. And then you can come alongside them and build their confidence there. So now they're ready for that next stage. Now, in that stage, you need to be there when it's new and difficult. You need to be helping instruct them and help them to understand without the critical attitude. And it's a slow and voluntary process. We must take our time and be patient in these lessons. We should not require our children a lesson that they are not capable of doing on their own because it removes the confidence. It helps them to come to a place of disliking that subject or disliking school altogether. A child who is not confident is not willing to do it. And that's what I want you to realize. A person who's not confident is not willing to put the effort there. So, number three, secret number three, define what knowledge should be retained. When you know what your child should be learning each year, and again, don't let just grade systems tell you. I want you to sit back and think, what do you want your child to know? Like you planting a garden, what kind of vegetables will you be using in your recipes? What kind of knowledge do you want your child to carry into adulthood? What do you see that being beneficial to them? And when you take a step back and you say, you know what? This is what I want my child to know as they're going into adulthood. This is what I want them to carry. What type of knowledge does that look like? Yes, knowledge for them to be able to mark a career. Absolutely. Well, what about a strong faith? What should they know to carry your faith in? What type of noble character do you want them to have as they move into adulthood? What type of character and conduct do you want to see in your children as they carry into adulthood? This is what I want you to stop and think more than what the academic system tells us our children should be having. When we take that step and that approach, it's easy then to say, okay, now I know what knowledge they have, much like what vegetables I want to plant in my garden, because these are the vegetables we'll be using in our meals. This is the knowledge I want my child to have, the faith, the character, the conduct, because this is what they'll be using in adulthood. Are you seeing this? So when we understand that our child must first be confident, because without confidence, if they're not willing, we must know what it is. We must become equipped to know what we're missing in order to let them know the stages of transition and help them to continue to show progress. Then we need to be able to define what that knowledge should look like that we want them to retain and carry into adulthood. And when we come into planning with those three secrets, it's easy. It's absolutely easy to show progress each and every year. Even if your child is dyslexic, I know I have two, even if your child is struggling with like a reluctant writer, I have had two of those. They have all gotten to the point of being able to carry this knowledge into adulthood, even when they felt inadequate at times. How? I use these three secrets. These three secrets are exactly how I took my dyslexic children and turned them into readers, how I took my reluctant writers and turned them into writers. It is the key that you must learn as a homeschooling teacher in order to show progress each and every year and not have that annual sleepless nights because the test results didn't show your effort, energy, and time that you put into your children. These are the three secrets that will do that for you. Now, you might be thinking, okay, wait, Dolly, I don't know the stages of transition. I don't know the type of knowledge I want my children to have, and I surely am not sure about the confidence level. Well, if that's you, I have good news. I'm here to equip you, just like you're here to equip your children. So let me share with you the tools that I would really love to give to you. Wholesomethink.com. Now, the founders' doors are still open if you're listening to this live. If you listen on to repeat after August 31st, I'm sorry to tell you those doors will be closed. And in this Wholesome Thinkers, I give you everything that you need for the Founders Foundation. This is the last time that I'm offering the stages of transition. I'm offering you how to understand this confidence baseline. I'm here to show you exactly what you need to do as a homeschooling teacher to be equipped to fill in the blanks of the things that you do not know so that you can recognize those things that your child does not know. And you can remove that critical attitude because you're equipped. You're empowering your children with confidence so that they are willing to continue to learn. And With that, they're going to become equipped to carry valuable knowledge, strong faith, noble character, and wholesome conduct into adulthood. And isn't that why we're homeschooling? Isn't that the purpose that you have decided, you know what? I am going to become a homeschooler for these very key reasons that I want my child to have in adulthood. I think so. I know that is ours. And that has been hundreds of people that I have taught and coached over 4 years. So if you're interested, go to wholesomethink.com and recognize that right now the Founders Edition is still open. It will close on August 31st. The price will disappear and some of the package will disappear. It'll still be valuable the next time I open it up, but you will pay more for less. So I want you to really think hard. These doors are going to close, and when they close, they're permanently closed. So I want you to think hard. Is this the time for me to become intentional and consistent in the very purpose of why I homeschool? If so, there's nothing else like it. It completely equips you. It gives you blueprints of how to transform your family with the method of Charlotte Mason that takes a child from how the brain learns and equips them for life. So I'm excited about that. And I must say, while you're looking for that, if you have any questions, go ahead and reach out to me at info@charlottemasonmastery.com. Comment on this video. I'm here to answer your questions. Send me a message any way that you want on social media. I'm here to help you make this decision if this is right for your family. Now, I do have to tell you this. This is the very last Charlotte Mason Mastery show. It's disappearing. Now, if you're on my list, you probably have read already why this is disappearing. But don't worry, I still have your back. I'm still here for you, but in a different way, in a better way, in a way that's going to totally equip you to influence your kids. And isn't that what we're about, right? We have to recognize that, like it or not, every mind that our children are coming in contact with, whether it be through books or media, meaning social media, meaning television, movies, books, yes, but people that are in their community, their churches, our culture, things they're hearing in conversations round and about. Whenever we come in contact with minds, influences, both wholesome and unwholesome, are being introduced to our families. They're being influencing our children. And in the culture that we live in today, there has to be a solution, right? The Word of God is the solution. But with that, we have to teach our children to know what's wholesome and what's not wholesome. We need ourselves to become more discerning in that. We need to be able to say, you know what? I want my children to be amongst this culture of influence, or I say no to this influence, and I do not want to conform. I want to be transformed. So with that, Charlotte Mason Mastery is being rebranded. It's being rebranded to Wholesome Influences. And with that, I am so excited because I'm really going to meet Christian parents where they need to be, equipping them with the things they don't know about influences, the things that they don't recognize about influences. And I'll have to tell you, recently I got an email from someone who was like, I'm glad you're passionate about why you homeschool or the fact that you homeschool, but it's kind of arrogant in how you're speaking. You know, I took a couple days to respond to that, which is usually my nature. And so I prayed about it and I was like, you know, how can I respond to this? Because the last thing I want is to come off arrogant, right? What I want to come off is helping people to understand the truth that influences have laws, just like gravity has laws, just like anything else in our world, there are laws, and influence is not any different. Influences of wholesome and unwholesome work the exact same way. And we as Christian parents must become aware of these influences. How else has the world become what it's become? How else has our culture degenerated to where it is today? It's all from the influences. The more influences that are at our fingertips, truly at our fingertips, the more likely unwholesomeness is going to come to us. And in Romans 2:12 or 12:2, I'm getting it mixed up. I think it's 12:2. It says, do not be conformed to the things of the world, but transformed by the renewing of your mind. So that's my passion. That is my mission. And to do that, I must flip my business because Charlotte Mason is all about wholesome ideas. It's all about taking the parent to understand how the mind works and how to use your homeschooling as the tool to be able to teach your children wholesome ideas and to be able to influence your kids in a way that they are not only marking out their career, but also taking with them into adulthood a strong faith, noble character, and wholesome conduct. That's the purpose of homeschooling. But we must start with understanding influences before we can even get there. And a lot of people are making their changes in their education because they're becoming aware of the influences. They don't maybe understand the whole laws of influences, but they do, in fact, understand that there are some things happening in our culture, and we kind of want to shelter our children. Sheltering our children are not the answer. We cannot shelter them like they're babes. We must, in fact, go from milk to meat so that they can withstand and not be conformed. And that's the problem in our society today. Our children are not equipped to recognize unwholesome and wholesome. And when they do recognize the difference, their will's not strong enough to go the right way and grow to fruitful purpose. Instead, they fall prey to the temptations of this world. There is an answer. There are laws to influences. And when you understand those laws, you will then surround yourself with wholesome ideas. We need to teach our children that importance of how to do that for themselves, how to become discerning. We can't shelter them forever. We have to equip them for eternity. So that's what my passion is. And I'm so excited to be saying that on September 7th, the rebrand is going to finally be opened up for wholesomeinfluences.com. And so by flipping that, I hope readers like the ones that I got will see that I'm not being arrogant. I'm being realistic about the laws of influences, and they're real and they're not going anywhere. And until we understand them and we combat them for the purpose of not conforming to this world, but transforming our minds by renewing them with scripture and understanding what that looks like, will we only be able to make a difference and turn our culture around with our children guiding in the way of knowing how to become those influences themselves. And the only way I can do that is to make you parents, Christian parents, understand that you are the best influences in your children's lives. But until you understand those laws, you're not going to be able to walk in it. So that's where I'm here. That's what our purpose is, and my family's getting right behind it. We have a lot of things that will be launching in 2022 and 2023. So you need to be watching that. All right. So you'll be seeing changes on this page. And until then, I want you to look at Wholesome Thinkers, because it is disappearing, the Founders Package. And this Founders Package is worth $167,000. What is it? $930. I mean, it's crazy, the value. Now, the value is not the price. The value is the results you're going to get from it. And it's worth the investment if you were really concerned about the culture your family is in. If you're concerned about the community your kids are in, if you're concerned about the curriculum choices and making sure you're making the right intentional decisions, there's nothing better than Wholesome Thinkers. So I hope to see you all inside. And I can't wait to pull back the veil on the new rebrand of Wholesome Influences. And until then, be watching for September 7th at 11 a.m. I am going to be sharing with you some key things about wholesome influences and begin introducing to you a little bit about the laws. So we'll be watching for that. Until then, bye for now, and I'll see you when we switch to wholesome influences. Bye for now.